Do this thing again here as man, this week has just flown by. Lots of stuff going on in the news. We're just following all these little stories. Plenty of stuff to get to today too. Your calls, we'll start throwing the phone lines up in here in just a little bit at 545. We fix these wires. 9950 545 9950. Work Trucks bringing you the show this hour. TRUX. That's the place to go if you need a stripped down commercial based vehicle to help you get whatever you got to get done. It's just important when you're running a business, of course, to keep your overhead down. And when you go out and buy a new one of these trucks, they're going to depreciate just like an automobile will. And it's up to you to kind of be a good steward of that. Work Trucks has gone to the trouble to find trucks out there in the world that people want and need. And then they go through them 125 points and make them all right. Put them on the lot. If anything on that 125 point list does not check, they don't put it on the lot. Bubba says their reputation's riding on that. They want to put the best trucks out there. So it's like you're buying new, but you get that pre-owned price. And then they back them with warranties. If you need extended warranties or financing, it's sort of a one-stop shop. And a lot of these trucks are already pre-configured for your industry. In the case of a new one, sometimes you got to go buy the chassis and then have the body outfitted with a tool body or service body. They've got those ready to go to work at Work Trucks. Put an X in there. They got creative with the spelling. TRUX, WorkTrucksLLC.com, WorkTrucksLLC.com, downtown Birmingham, 3rd Avenue South. Every time I tell you about 3rd Avenue South, and then I think about Birmingham Broker, which is on 4th Avenue South, and then I think about Iron City, which is on 6th. They're all right there, kind of within a few blocks of each other. Here comes, man, I hope y'all have got your tickets to Job on Jam. We are just right out about a week from having our big 10th anniversary party. And, man, it's been 10 years. Hard to believe. And here we are, still doing it, still the biggest talk station in the state and trying to do the right thing by you every single day. And we want to hang out with you and see some incredible bands. So let's go watch together. Let's go watch Brother Kane and Stone Horses and my buddies in Cattle. It's going to be a 3-band show. You're not going to get 3 bands of this caliber and this quality and this much fun for that price in one night. And so shorter sets from each, but that should make it even more fun. Y'all come and see them at Iron City. Get your tickets online at Ticketmaster, or of course you can get them right on the Iron City website. It is, of course, ironcity.com, ironcitybeham.com, and get your tickets and we'll see you over there. We'll be doing the show there a week from tomorrow as well, so we'd love to see you as well. Man, I've got this story in my face. I see it because it's up on my monitor here in the studio, and I saw it briefly this morning, and it's another one of those crazy cases where you had an illegal immigrant try to carjack a family, and the father, I think it was the father of the group, was able to fight back and save the life of his family by shooting the person that was trying to take their vehicle and take them hostage. There's some questions. So this guy walks toward the car, and the dad gets out of the car, and he's got a piece on him. The guy pushes past him and tries to just get in the car and take it, and they get in this fight. You can see the whole thing was caught on. Are you watching this on Fox right now, AJ? Have you seen this video? So the dad, was properly defending his crew. I don't know how these people are related to him. But he wound up shooting the guy. Now, then it brings up an instant debate: can this be construed as self-defense? He had a weapon. Apparently, the illegal immigrant that tried to take his car and jumped in there and tried to steal the man's car it doesn't appear to be armed. And so there's some people saying that he shot him as the guy had pushed past him. Listen, this guy's family was in that car. He had reason to believe his life was in danger. He didn't have time to conduct a poll as to whether or not this guy was armed or not. And he had to do the right thing to protect him and the people around him. For that matter, the car is a weapon. The minute that guy got in the car and got behind the wheel to steal it, he could have run over the 2 other family members that are right there on the other side of the vehicle. So it's a tragedy all the way around, and it points out even further. And by the way, this was in Garland, Texas. And I would presuppose that Texas law is going to it's similar to the Castle Doctrine cases where you're able to stand your ground. In the case out of Florida, this guy was well within his reason to be protecting those around him from this kind of violence. We've just let this stuff grow out of control in this country. And that video, the thing about the video is it's probably one of the clearer videos you'll ever see of an incident like this. You know, we get a lot of cop videos nowadays, and I'm telling you, the body cams have been a great thing for policing. That was all the rage back, especially during the BLM nonsense in this country. And it turned out the body cams, as I predicted, because it was pretty obvious, have exonerated more police than not, because it's a tough job. And in this case, it wasn't a cop involved. It was just day-to-day street crime here in this country. And so good on that. Good on the guy that took care of business. I mean, we got to start. The one thing the criminal fears is believe it or not, they fear the victims. There would be victims. If they thought they were armed and a harder target, they move in another direction. There are decades of crime statistics that prove that. And that's the whole reason you have a right to self-defense in this country and a right to carry. So interesting case. That'll eventually work its way through the court system. And I'm sure we'll be talking about it once we know more about the case. All right. We're also on standby. Lately, we've gotten these regular news conferences from the Trump administration. Trump is leading a meeting with the president of Brazil. A little bit of tension there. And of course, they've sent Rubio over to meet with the Pope. The Pope's gone off the rails. He's a total lib from Chicago and has said a bunch of kooky stuff. And so the Trump administration and the Pope trying to mend fences through a Rubio visit. If there's anybody that can handle this, it's Rubio. I'm just turning into a bigger and bigger fan of his. If we get the president here in the next few minutes live, I assume we'll just go to that. Sometimes these heads of state meetings, there's a pattern to it. They'll always be in the room with the gold chairs and they'll do the photo op and both sides will take questions and then the media will drift off into other stuff. But with this pending Iran situation and everything else happening in the country, we need to hear just about everything the president has to say, especially here late in the day. So we're going to keep an eye on that. Just know if you're riding down the road this afternoon, we'll try to go to that and get as much as we can, in as much as we are not in a break or going through our regular schedule. Now, let me throw some other stuff on the table. One of the other things that Rubio has been the tip of the spear on is our situation as it relates to Cuba. We had the story yesterday where Representative Jalaya Paul was negotiating with other governments to try to get around our sanctions. Here's a member of Congress trying to get around our sanctions on another nation. Clear felony, clear violation of the Logan Act. She should be investigated immediately and I believe arrested. You just cannot do that. We've got too much else usurping our government. Our systems, if we don't follow them, are going to fall apart. Let me just rant on that for a second. I went through my Ketanji Brown Jackson argument a little while ago after she's been called out, but even the liberal members on the court have called this woman out for her activism. It's not her job. And she put this state, this country up against a wall by dragging her feet on this districting decision to be an activist. And that's caused tension in this country. Look at the chaos in Tennessee today, the way the Republicans, in order to comply with the Constitution of the United States of America, need to redraw their districts to bring those into compliance. And all hell breaks loose in the Tennessee House as they push their maps through. The Democrats down here in Alabama are attempting to do the same thing. They're all working together. We wouldn't be in a deadline crisis and having to rush these districts if these people would just abide by the law. Democrats have decided they don't have to. Sanctuary cities, that's an abdication of the law. Their border policy, allowing people in that are not legally allowed to be here, that's just ignoring the law. The soft on crime policies, ignoring the law. And now you've got members of Congress thinking they can take it upon themselves to ignore the law and go negotiate foreign policy on their own. It's not the first time, but somebody's got to put a stop to this stuff or we lose cohesion as a country. And maybe that's the goal. These people want us to break apart. They want to tear this country up and they're going after, I've said it over and over. Our side continues to argue policy and ideology. We continue to argue history and logic. We've got logic on our side. We've got history on our side. We've got all of the course of history, the failures and the good things in history to rely on to decide what the best thing to do next is. And it's the whole premise of our government. And that's falling apart. It's being directly challenged from a number of fronts right now. The socialist front, obviously this Muslim front, which is completely antithetical to the way the founders built our country. You can't believe in the tenets of Islam and Sharia law and also believe our Constitution. And if we're going to revere the Constitution and uphold it, it's time to uphold it. In all of these matters, almost everything that's in the news today, the districting, it's a constitutional issue now. We've got clarity from the court. You have to do the right thing and draw your states accordingly. With all these other matters, we have to follow some set of rules. But there are people who don't think the rules apply to them. And you saw that in Tennessee today with those idiots in the Democrat Party protesting and attacking troopers and acting stupid, because when they lose and the rules don't work for them, they just ignore the rules and do what they want. And that's chaos. That's how a country falls apart. There has to be the rule of law. What made me laugh the other day was listening to Obama lecture. He was interviewed by another schmuck. I think it was the guy who has the late night comedy show who's not
Stephen
funny.
Colbert.
Yeah, it was Colbert. He went on Colbert, and I had a lot to say about how he would prefer Republicans and opposition that would obey the rule of law. This guy who staged a coup against the incoming president, this guy, if there's ever been a guy who wants to shatter the rule of law, it's him and the people that believe like that. Even they've been going about it for a long time. Even their globalist immigration policy is a complete violation of our immigration laws. So are we going to be a nation of laws or a nation of men? That was the way the founders spoke about it. A nation of men, what they meant by that was not trying to exclude you ladies or men who think you're ladies, but they just meant, is it going to be about personalities and people's emotions and having dictators decide by any minute how a society has to live, or are we going to follow laws? And I would submit to you, our side's doing a better job at following the laws. The laws are there for a reason. They're fair. They've always been fair. When we argue about them, it's to figure out what is the best fair thing to do according to that. That's our Constitution. And it is a special document. It has set us aside in the world. It set the tone for freedom for countries all over the world, for speech and your right to protect yourself and all these things we just discussed, even that carjacking. That's a constitutional right to protect you and your family. That was set aside for the people in this country. Here's what's interesting too. We so lose perspective because we didn't live in the times the people who wrote that Constitution and knew their exact frame of mind. We just have their words. I read the most fascinating piece the other day about what drove particularly the European migrants that got on rickety wooden ships and took that dangerous journey to get across the water to get over here. What drove them largely, and there are a lot of things, but one of those things, I never even considered this. One of those things was meat, just good old fashioned meat. Let me see if I can summarize that for you. And I'll wrap this back all into one thought, I guess. For under the feudal system, and again, these are just white folk. Listen to everybody. This is what white people did to each other. Under the feudal system, and then under the royal system, where you had a king that owned lands, and there was no upward mobility. If you weren't born into that name or that title or that family, you had no shot. You just had, if your dad was a blacksmith, you had to be a blacksmith. But all of the hunting grounds, all of the game on the hunting grounds in various territories and parts of Europe, up into Scotland, in Ireland and all those places, belonged to the king or his designees, which meant you could be living in a home wanting food and meat, and deer could walk past your house and you would be hung and murdered if you killed one, because that's not your deer. It belongs to the king. So the word got out when folks started coming across and sending word back that there was just game raining from the sky over here. There was untapped land that didn't belong to anybody. Now, I know people would argue it belonged to Native Americans, but a lot of them were nomadic and didn't set up borders, and they fought with each other. They were slaughtering each other over the same land. But the game was plentiful. The rivers were teeming with salmon and fish. There was big game everywhere. You could feed your family just by showing a little work ethic and working. And so it motivated them. They were hungry. They got on boats to try to find this thing that was promised, and a lot of them found it when they got here. The point being, our founders had the experience of knowing what central power and control does to people. And when they become hierarchical, one of the things that was in our government were titles of nobility. They didn't want kings, they didn't want lords, they didn't want any quality to organize themselves. It takes a civil people to do that. It was specifically done after.
All right, looks like we are digitizing again. We got some technical issues, and we're going to take this quick break, and then we come back. We got more Leading Live as we try to get things set up and situated again. It's Talk 99.5.
All right, it's 3:24. Sorry, I turned into a robot again. AJ, somebody messaged me and said Skynet has taken over Leland Live. I love Terminator 2 reference. Yeah, we got some connection. I think it's my transmission box over here is acting a little weird today. I don't even think it's the internet speed. Sometimes it's the ladder. But it was break time anyway. I appreciate you covering for me and getting that done while we did a little quick reset. Lonnie is Furniture Company. Been talking about them for years now, and I love the follow up from people. Y'all let me know how we're doing, and when you're happy, even if you're not happy with one of our advertisers here on the show, we love to hear from you. And I get great reviews from Lonnie. People love to send me pictures of their haul and what they've picked up and how it looks in their houses, and that gets me excited because there's always something fresh at Lonnie. They just move a lot of weight. They move a lot of furniture. They have great prices all the time, and they've got a huge warehousing operation. They're constantly getting new shipments in. So even if you haven't been in a while, you can walk in Lonnie's and see almost a completely different store. Same feel, same quality, same good prices, but just different stuff on the floor all the time. That's how you do it. That's how you survive for 92 years in the furniture business. It's Lonnie'sFurnitureCompany.com, LAUNIUS, Lonnie'sFurnitureCompany.com off exit 280 of I-65 right there in North Jefferson County. Can't miss them. If you're coming from either direction, if you're coming from Coleman or you're coming from south of there, you get off that exit and it kind of shoots you over to 31, both lanes, both exit ramps do. And then you just head south on 31, and it's just right down there. Put them in your GPS. They've been there long enough now in that new location that they are right there in your GPS, and go see them. Lonnie is Furniture. Tell Reggie I said hey to while you're at it. Lonnie'sFurnitureCompany.com this weekend. All right, I'm continuing to scroll. Let me give a quick update this hour on the redistricting stuff. We can't really get too far away from the map wars today. Tennessee sort of led the country today in the chaos because the House in Tennessee redrew their maps and took away. The Democrats had a favorably drawn district based out of Memphis. By the way, even though it was a majority, black district, they had a white guy in the district, which shows you total fallacy about having. Oh, well, I guess it's the people that were chosen by that district, but they're wiping that district out and changing the map, as is the case in a lot of states, to comply with the Constitution. So if I could try to boil it down, and I did this at the beginning of the show, and I think I can do it again in 3 minutes. In its simplicity, Alabama is on a little bit of a hold because of a pending case that we need clarity on. It's pretty obvious to the whole free world that case needs to be tossed because it was based on a false premise about the Voting Rights Act. The new landmark ruling from the Supreme Court makes that case void or moot, as the lawyers love to say. Louisiana just got that kind of ruling from the 5th Judicial Circuit over their case. They're almost identical cases. They were on identical tracks. I would just say that Louisiana had better lawyers and managed to get theirs through the Supreme Court, while Alabama sort of, in some ways, acquiesced and had that map forced on the state. And then the Supreme Court just put the kibosh on all that. But the legislature doesn't want to move forward until they've got an all clear by the courts that the ramifications of that other case are indeed thrown out. So in the meantime, the Alabama legislature is trying to push through at least the authority for the governor to move forward and suspend the elections to be able to do those maps. They haven't passed a definitive map. One of the positions would be to go to the fallback, which would be the traditional 6 Republican, 1 Democrat district we've had for decades in Alabama. But again, as we pointed out over and over, that district was drawn under those same unconstitutional standards. So we're in not a real holding period, but we're still waiting on the courts. If you want to be optimistic, if you're for a 7-0 map and you want to be optimistic, when the 5th Judicial Circuit gave Louisiana the all clear, in other words, what they said was the lower court case is now null and void. You guys can draw your maps any way you want. Alabama needs that, and we've appealed to a district court. We've appealed to the 11th Circuit, and we've appealed to the Supreme Court. We did them in reverse order for some reason, and now we're waiting. So that ruling could come today. It could come this weekend. It could come next week. I don't know what the timeline's going to be. Nobody really does. So the legislature's just moving forward because of the deadline pressure, and we're waiting on the courts. If they rule favorably, and some people believe the 11th Circuit, for example, would have to pretty much rule the same way the 5th Circuit did, Alabama would be free to draw a 7-0 map. And I think some of those legislators are feeling the heat from states all around us that are drawing constitutional maps, even though the Democrats are protesting. Of course they're protesting. They're getting a rigged system taken away from them. Can't rig it. All right, we'll keep watching it in case there are developments on that front this afternoon. Still watching things going down in the Iranian war front, too. We'll update on that. And get your phone calls. Come on, 545-9950. All right, it's 3:34. Let's keep on going. Let's keep on going. Distinctive Pools, man, that's Gary Levac and his company ready to come build a pool for you. If you're going to build a pool, I say it all the time, and I mean it from the bottom of my little old heart. Don't build an ugly pool. Don't build a cheap pool on your house. It's got to look like it belongs there. That all comes down to design. So you need a professional designer that has the skill set to design just about anything you could imagine, or that would be appropriate for your house plan. But you can really create a burden on your house value if it's an ugly old pool that you just kind of stuck on there on the cheap, and then you're trying to sell your house and you're dealing with people that may not even want a pool. But if you build a beautiful pool, even people that don't want a pool will love the pool. They'll go, wow, that's nice. That's where Distinctive comes in. This is what they do. They build beautiful stuff. Gary Levesque alone's been building pools for 40 years. He actually started in the hardscape business, which led to the pool business. And as I've told you over and over, those two are coming together these days. In my day, people built a huge concrete pool with a diving board, and that was wonderful with chain link fence. We just loved it. But they're much more stylish, much more functional nowadays. The maintenance, the lighting packages. And to me, I mean, this is just my language, but what people have done is sort of scaled down the size of the actual pool and use some of that other space for outdoor living areas where you got a fireplace and a TV and pools out there with you. And you just create an environment that's always welcoming. They can build all of that for you at Distinctive Pools, and they do it all the time with companies that have come along to help them finance these projects for you too. It's distinctivepools.com. Y'all reach out to him, let Gary or somebody on his team, even the rest of his team's got years and years and years of experience. Let them draw in the dirt with you and lay it all out and get you a plan and get excited about it. Get it financed and let's go. We still got a lot of summer left. Not even in summer yet. Distinctivepools.com. All right, let me take some phone calls. I will go ahead and say I'm still juggling map stories. Looks like South Carolina has now, in their House of Representatives, produced a map that draws out the Democrat district in South Carolina. I'm sure all hell will break loose over there too. It's fun. I enjoy the noise. I mean, it's democracy. It's what we're supposed to be doing. Let me just say this. If those folks on the other side that have been trying to wreck this country, voting for the insidious stuff that they have shoved down people's throats for most of my lifetime, these people had no problem drawing every single Republican out of parts of this country, the whole northeastern corridor, all of New England. They drew all the Republicans out and then ran around with lawyers and sued people into submission to draw districts that favored them. Screw them. Pass these districts and let's get this done. It's America. And yeah, is it power? It is. We've got the power in the South. Let's do it. Let's do it. Frank is up next, line 2. What's up, Frank? What you got, man?
Hey, so Leland, I was listening earlier today on a economic topic, and it was about sweet crude and sour crude.
Mm-hmm.
And I didn't realize this myself as an American, but America had developed a process of processing sour crude, or the harder crude oil to process.
Yep.
And sweet crude was something that we deported because it was easier for other countries to process and use. And it seems like our country is, because of our technology and stuff, we started processing sour crude, and we use that. And is that why our prices of gas is so much higher, or is that just because oil companies realized that they could sell the easier crude oil to sell to other countries?
Well, look, it's and when we get into this, and we've talked about it over and over with the escalation in price, whether we like it or not, this gets kind of into some high-minded economics, but I think it's really simpler than that. This is a worldwide traded product. So there's a worldwide trading system that trades crude of all types, right? So, and it doesn't price per barrel based on sweet or light or heavy or sour crude. It just prices the barrel price. That is, that's a way to keep investment coming in. So the companies that go out there and do all the hard work to find it and get it out of the ground and get it shipped to refineries have the capital to go do that to make a profit, so we can easily drive up and get crude. It works for us most of the time because the economic pressure and the competition of the price of the barrel and then the price of refining ultimately works in our favor, especially now that Trump's president and we're pumping oil like crazy. But you are right. It's not purely domestic. We don't have a fence We didn't build a border wall around the oil fields and we pump here and process here and buy here. If we were in a fantasy land, that would easily make our crude cheaper. But, and the things that interfere with it, OPEC will interfere with it, wars in other nations, hurricanes out in the Gulf knock out drilling capacity, or sometimes we'll have fires or explosions at some of the plants. The bigger problem for us has been regulation. And not only is the other party have been hostile toward this industry and tried to cut off production, but they've been very hostile to refineries in particular. And so we haven't really mainstreamed new refineries since the 70s. We're trying to bring another one back on in California, but we have such sophisticated technology. We can handle, like you were just suggesting, we can handle the heaviest and dirtiest and hardest to refine crude in the world, and other countries can't. So we do bring some in to be refined here and we sell. But the barrel price, because it's traded all over the world, it just is what it is, and it forces our prices up and down like everybody else. In other words, we don't operate in a bubble.
I get that. But, I mean, at what point does America say, you know what, we're going to start working on sweet crude or whatever? I'm not an oil expert. I don't know. But I'm just saying that at what point do we say, you know what, we're going to start refineries that can help America get cheaper oil? And I get, it's a global thing. It's not an American thing. It's a global thing. I mean, as far as oil goes, it's always going to be global.
Yeah.
But my point is, I mean, at what point does America say, you know what, we're going to start doing refineries that can do sweet crude over the sour crude, and we can get our oil cheaper? And I know that the global market's going to always dictate whatever we do or anybody else does. But at some point, I mean, America has to say, you know what, we're going to do what we got to do to make our country, our life easier, better. And because, I mean, there's countries, I mean, like Venezuela, at one point there were just like, 87 cents a gallon. But, I mean, it's just, I don't know what we do to make things better.
Well, let me try to, as simply as we can put it. One of the bigger challenges there is our government doesn't own and manage and control energy production. It only gets in the way of it. So you either have a president and administration that gets out of the way and lets capitalism free flow that stuff, and that tends to always work for us, or you want government control. Venezuela went with the government control model and almost wrecked their energy system. So in order to focus on just American production and American refining capacity, now I guess a private company could ramp up and just do that. There may be a market for that, but then all of us would have to commit to go, let's just say we called that Frank Oil Company. Frank Oil Company would have to say, we're going to drill it here, we're going to refine it here, and we're only going to sell it here. And to protect us, either the government controls that, makes rules that it has to be done, which will ultimately cause us to run out of gas because government can't run anything, or we're counting on a private business to do it. And then here's the choke point. There's not any capital out there in a private business right now that would go out and spend the billions it would take to build a new refinery just to produce only here. Does that make sense?
No, because we already
it's
have refineries. We have companies that's refining oil, that's shipping it out. We have people, I'm sorry, not people, we have companies that are shipping it out overseas, and the sweet oil that's going to other countries. And you can say what you want to, but at the end of the day, I mean, is it America or is it the world?
It's the world.
So
If it doesn't sound very patriotic to say it, but it's a whether we like it or not, the way all of our economic system is built on the flow of oil and petroleum and all the things that come from it. It's not just gas and diesel. They're plastics. Almost everything you look around has got petroleum products in it. It's become a global system that it's hard to break that off and isolate it and make fuel any cheaper than we have it now. It seems like it would work, but because the system's already built, I guess it'd be like saying, I'm trying to come up with another good example. You're just going to build your own railroad and redo everything, even though the tracks have been there since the 1800s that some of these trains are still running on. The infrastructure's so interlaced worldwide that it's hard to isolate it. It's almost economically impossible to do it. So we're stuck trading with the world. Here's the way to fix it. Here's a way to fix it.
No, it's because the Clintons tried that with with their trade embargo or with their ability to trade with the world. America had everything they needed to have, and they had cheap everything until they started dealing with the world.
With industrial production, you're right, but it's a different thing. Industrial production is hard goods and steel and things that aren't. Oil is a commodity. It's consumed. Every barrel that comes out of the ground is consumed within weeks by the automobile and the trucks and all that use it. So it has to constantly flow. So the model is built on constant flow all over the world all the time. And governments don't, except for China controls it. What got in the way of that is we need to remove those obstacles. That is rules on refineries. We need to create an incentive to get more refineries. We've taken care of the Venezuelan problem. We put sanctions on them because they went commie and confiscated the whole oil industry that America was drilling down there. It was in our interest to drill there. They took it over. We put sanctions, and then China gets the oil for cheap. Same thing for Cuba. It was propping up Cuba. Same thing for China, getting it out of Iran. Trump is actually busting that up, and the world's about to be flooded with cheap oil all over the world. Prices are really poised to come crashing down to very reasonable levels as soon as we get the situation worked out with Iran. And that's been Trump's game all along, was to re-level the platform. We were at a huge disadvantage because of Democrats in our government that hated the industry and tried to destroy it and restrict it, and then worldwide global pariahs that were doing it on the cheap and continuing to produce, putting us behind the 8 ball. You got to fix those things to make it work.
You just explained everything. I don't even know if you understand what you just said, but you just explained everything. The Democrats dealt with the world market, and America decided to go with the world markets instead of trusting America.
No, America didn't go with the world market. We built the world market. We actually we built the Saudis. The Saudis had no idea how to get oil out of the ground until we went and did it. We are the engineers of the world, and the biggest consumers of the product in the world, and they wouldn't know how to drill anything without our help.
I'm agreeing with you. I'm agreeing with you without you realizing it. The world market was developed through America, but my problem is, why can't America get back to saying, you know what, we did this, we can do it again? And it bothers me that our country and our people can't say, you know what, we did this once before, we can do it again.
I got you, man. All right, I got to run, hit the break. I appreciate it, bud. Good questions. Oil economics are on the tip of the minds of a lot of people right now. I think I answered his question. I just don't think he heard the answer. It's if you want the government to nationalize all the oil in the United States and wall it off from the rest of the world, watch what happens. We'll be pushing our cars up and down the road. You don't want our government creating any more restrictions to what our incredible ingenuity and capitalism can produce and get out of the ground and get to the gas station. The competition, left unfettered with all this interference by communist countries and Democrats here in this country and others, would produce cheap oil. It always has. What makes it go up is when it gets interfered with, like the war in Iran or other calamities. And the competition and the ability to go drill and bring it in from anywhere in the world, or also sell it and enrich a lot of our industry in the United States, and tens of thousands, if not hundreds of thousands of jobs tied to the fact that we sell it to the world. We're net exporters. There are I think it's 120 tankers that we're getting in other parts of the world heading here now to fill up on the Gulf Coast. That's going to make America rich. It's going to help our GDP, our tax base, our tariff system. It's complex and it's really hard to describe on the radio in 10 minutes, but I'm doing my best. 545, if y'all got some thoughts, 545-9950. We got to hit this break real quick. Danny Knowles is with the Knowles Group. You want to talk about complex stuff, trying to follow the markets nowadays and all their, every time somebody sneezes, the markets go up, then they go down. And if you were just worried about your retirement funds and panicking day to day, that wouldn't be any way to live. It's nice to have a financial advisor that can see the big picture and look long-term and know where to place your money and get that return. They're focused on the things that are fundamental, not the things that are temporary. And man, I don't even know how they do it, but they do it at the Knowles Group. My man, Danny, we've been friends since we were 10 years old, and he's just a great guy, straight shooter, no nonsense. He said a lot of stuff over the years I wish he hadn't said. He'd probably say that about me too. He'll just tell you. But I like that about him. That's what you want in your financial advisor. Blunt, straightforward advice. That's where you need to be. And he can help you, he and his sons in the family practice. It's theknowlesgroup.com, N-O-L-E-S, theknowlesgroup.com. Back in a minute. Man, Gutter Cap has jumped back into this sale that they had all the way through the holidays, through the early part of spring. They're bringing back 45% off. Let's talk. Gutter Cap's just the single best product you can imagine putting on your gutters, and we should all have these things on our gutters. If you got gutters on your house, some people don't, but if you have gutters, they should be covered. And if they're covered, they ought to be Gutter Cap. There's not a product anywhere like it. That's why they patented it. Other people can't make this. All aluminum, single piece structures to eliminate the seams. The material itself just knows how to stand the test of time. So y'all take care of that at Gutter Cap. Get them over, and they're going to give you 45% off. There's some reason I hear a computer playing or something here in the studio. 45% off the Gutter Cap product right now. Chris and his team have an A+ rated business. Been around for years and years doing this product and taking care of folks, and you can't beat 45% off as we finally get into the rainy season. Let them take care of that for you. It's guttercapbham.com, guttercapbham.com. All right, I think I got time for another call, AJ, before we get too close to the top. Let's talk to Country Philosopher. Is he still there? What's up, CP?
Nope, he dropped off.
No, okay. All right. Let me make some adjustments here. Suddenly I heard Steve West a second ago, and I was like, am I doing that or you? It's like, is that Steve West? Did he just walk in the door? I don't see him. Anyway, all right. How are we doing on the calls, AJ? Because I got stuff to do.
Oh, we got Paul.
All right, let's go to Paul. For some reason, I lost my call monitor, too. All hell's breaking loose today. Paul, what's going on, man?
It ain't hell. It ain't breaking loose. Leland, listen to you for a long time, and man, you blow me away. You're so knowledgeable and intelligent about not just politics, a lot of things. So you can maybe answer this question, and
right.
I think it's a good one. All right. Can politicians, Democrats and Republicans, be replaced by a robot?
How about if we could send an AI politician to Washington and let that just be it? That's a good question. I don't know. Could it be any worse? Is the question. Could it be any worse?
I guess I understand it. I could be wrong. You program what the computer is supposed to know. So what do? Take the left robot and program them that a man can get pregnant and all that horse crap that they're.
That's true.
But anyway, maybe you can answer that a lot better than I can.
Man, look, part of me says can't get any worse. The other part of me says it's woke tech companies that are creating all the AI, and then we'd have chaos. It would be total chaos. But you know what? There's going to come a time, let me blow y'all's mind, when that's going to be a real question. Here's what it'll be. If we consider some of these AI developments sentient or an actual being, do they have rights? Okay. There will be people arguing, just like they've gone to court, argue certain animals have rights and this and that these AI things, robots, whatever they are, have rights because they have thoughts. And then do you give them a right to vote? Then what? Trump will deport all of them. I don't know, man. It blows the mind to consider these concepts, and it sounds funny to us, but I'm telling you, some idiot pretty soon at Berkeley is going to come up with this concept, and we'll be fighting about it.
Well, sounds like you got a handle on that. It's a hell of a topic right there. I'm just thinking.
Yeah, it is.
Supreme Court, I want all new robots.
That might
we don't have to worry about them. No fraud. I mean,
can they run for office? Can they vote? Do they want their own little special congressional districts that nobody else can have? I don't know. Back in a minute. Got to go. Back in a minute.